Hey everybody, how are you? Can you hear me okay? I am very excited for today's stream because I might have figured out some tech stuff. Let's see who's here. Let's scroll through. Yes, okay, Saki, thanks. Okay, hello, Sasaki Woodworks, Super Cow, Orc Lettuce 3. We have Insane Cerebello. Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. How are you? Well, I am happy to announce that I now have separate audio channels for myself and for my guests. So hopefully we're able to figure that out well and we can get the levels going well in the beginning and no issues whatsoever. Oh, hey, Laser Geek. Hey, T. How are all of you? Welcome. So today, we're going to be talking with someone who has started their own business based on their craft, on what they make, and it is none other than the infamous Stray Robotics. So I'm going to bring Stray Robotics on, and we'll let him talk about himself, introduce himself, and we'll get going. Here we are. We're both here. The infamous Stray Swizzle. Stray, how are you?
Doing all right. Just hanging out. I don't know. I was asked about a uniform, so I'm wearing my
Awesome.
uniform.
Great. So
Yeah.
I hope you've been having a good weekend so far.
Yep. Just been moving snow today, and
Oh,
yeah, it was. I can't remember what I did yesterday, but that's normal.
that's
So
normal. Normal
yeah,
weekend.
yep.
So I thought we could start things how I usually start them with creators. Is just tell us a little bit about yourself, your pre-Twitch life, and what brought you to live streaming.
Um, let's see. Well, okay, so um, 2 years ago, I registered Stray Robotics as a business. Before that, it was just kind of a little entity that Kristen and I created. I think back in 2011 or 12, just so that we had a way to demonstrate my first little Mars rover project at Space Fest. So we go to Space Fest every year, and that's where a lot of old Apollo astronauts gather and sign autographs and stuff. And I kind of wanted to display my early rover for some reason, and the only way to do that was to have like kind of a business entity. So we created it way back in like 2012, and then I kept working on just various rover stuff. And let's see, then yeah, around I think about 2 years ago, I 3D printed my first little rover. This is actually my second 3D printed one, but but I 3D printed one, and uh, and I showed it to all my friends and family, and they're like, "Yes, I want one." So I created this kind of a list of people who wanted one, and thought that it would probably only take about 6 months to make molds and start making parts. And so I registered the business, or Chris and I both registered. We had, um, you know, went through all the hoops of that, and I started started just trying to work on making molds, and then after a while, about a year or so went by, and I was still making molds, and so I thought it'd be fun to start showing it on YouTube. So I was making a lot of YouTube videos on how to, what I was doing, and I kind of wanted to share more of like the business aspect versus just making molds. And so I started kind of like a vlog of sorts on YouTube, and then found that I was spending about 4 hours making a video, and then another 3 or 4 hours turning that video into a little 15-minute video for YouTube.
Right.
And I got tired of doing that, so I found Twitch, and almost exactly a year ago, January 28th will be my 1 year on Twitch, and yeah, it's been a fun little ride. So I started my Twitch journey about a year ago, just showing how to make molds, and nobody was really watching back then. so
Well,
so
congratulations on almost 1 year. That's amazing.
thanks.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
is your YouTube channel, do you still post there or are you just focusing on Twitch right now?
I'm trying to, yeah, I'm trying to share like I guess like the idea was maybe start uploading a lot of the Twitch videos to YouTube, but um, I guess I haven't quite gotten around to it yet. And I think on my last stream, I was talking about having chat show up in the side view of the video. That way, people on YouTube could actually read chat as I was talking to them and stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think I'll probably start uploading them a little more often.
for sure. And yeah, it's super easy if you haven't looked into it already. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, not really. No, I think Alex Swavey was telling me about how to do it, and I kind of took a quick look, and yeah, it seems easy enough, I guess.
Yeah, feel free to send me a DM. I do a few extra steps just to add in like an intro and an outro, but no, it's super easy if you don't want to do that stuff too. So that'll be
Okay,
exciting to see those. And
awesome.
what's the name of your YouTube channel?
Stray Robotics. Yeah,
Perfect. So you all know where to find Stray.
yeah.
Stray Robotics on YouTube.
I have some videos on there from way back, 2012-ish maybe, and I was just like, there's no like, I'm not in any of these videos up until recently, and I would just kind of show like a rover driving or whatever, some practicing with some electronics, and yeah, so it's not special, nothing great back then, but I do have one video that has about 3,000 views now for some odd
Wow.
reason. So
Which video is that?
it's a very early one where I was testing out the rocker bogie suspension system that I had on my first rover. So it was just something out in the dirt, had it rotating around in place, just kind of demonstrating how it worked. And I don't know, I must have had the right tag words and stuff in there, but it really took off.
That's awesome though.
Yeah.
And when you started Twitch, were your streams like what you have now, or were they different?
Oddly enough, yeah, um I came across my first stream, like a clip of my first stream, and it actually looks fairly similar to what I have now. Um, it it probably wasn't all that great, but yeah, I think I was working on a mold for the rover body, I think at the time, and yeah, the lighting still, is not great. I think I have a pretty similar lighting. I'm still trying to figure that out, but yeah, it was actually not too bad quality being the first time. Probably because I came from showing videos on YouTube. I already
Right.
had kind of the camera set up that I wanted, so yeah, worked pretty well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
Um,
sense. You had the video set up and you just moved it over to Twitch.
Yep, pretty much. Then of course, like once I started actually watching people on Twitch, then I learned how to do different things. Like now I have the ability to switch between cameras and, kind of make little transition scenes and stuff. So, I'm still growing as a content creator, but
Oh, it's a
it's
fancy streamer to me. That's
it's
amazing.
it's been a lot of fun. I do spend an awful lot of time on it, oddly enough. It probably doesn't look like it, but yeah, like after every stream, I will rewatch most of my vlog, my VOD, I should say, and
Hmm.
and I'll kind of take notes, I guess, mental notes, like what I should change, if I should change the audio or try and adjust a camera somewhere, or yeah, I'll even read chat, and like if I missed somebody, say hi. If I didn't see them say hi, I will actually message them back and say, hey, I'm sorry I missed you. So it's nice, like just to kind of go back and just put that time in. But yeah, it's kind of, I think it's a little bit of work that a person has to do as a streamer. So it's a lot of like off camera stuff versus on camera. I think for how much I'm on camera, it's only about 4 hours a week, but I probably spend at least that off camera, kind of setting things up and making adjustments and tweaks and stuff. So yeah.
Definitely. And you might hear some barking from Teddy a little bit, but I now have the power to mute him.
Oh, hey, there's Teddy. Yeah.
He wants to know why he's not a co-host.
Yeah.
We'll have to work on his contract. But yeah, there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes for a lot of streamers. What are some things that you do to prepare for your streams?
So usually I think a day or two before I start to kind of think of what I'm going to stream about. And then I start kind of just putting the pieces in place. If it's going to be creating a mold or demolding something, or making a master part for a mold or whatever. And so I always just kind of start thinking of what I'm going to be doing, usually a day or two in advance, and then and yeah, so I just kind of start setting things up, making sure the camera, is probably in the right place for what I want to do. Sometimes I'll be over on the CNC machine cleaning up some parts, so I'll have to, readjust my setup and make sure it's looking good over there. And so yeah, it's just usually, I think before every stream, I'm usually at my computer about an hour beforehand just to make sure all the software is working. I will actually, I play music on my streams too, so that comes from YouTube. So I have to make sure that the YouTube video, or yeah, the video isn't too loud, and so I do several recordings beforehand. So that way I can listen to the audio and make sure that my voice is louder than the music and things like that. So yeah, it's a good bit of preparing. Usually takes me about a half hour or so to kind of get everything set up, get the rovers set up so everybody can drive it, and then I might quick grab something to eat and then run back and start go live. So
That's a lot of work, and I think that it shows. Your streams, the quality is really high, and I don't usually see any tech issues. And I
oh, that's
love,
good.
yeah, I love that you can in chat do commands for the rovers. I think that's really fun. How did you figure that
Yeah.
out?
That one I think I was watching. Laboratory 424 was probably one of the early streamers that I was watching, and I thought, man, that's fantastic. He has all these little robots in the background that are like shooting ping pong balls and making faces and stuff like that, and I thought I could do that. And so, a quick Google search, and it led me to Adafruit does something. They have some YouTube video on how to do something with their product, and it was kind of convoluted and took a little while to figure out. And then that led me to Noise Brew, and Noise Brew is a fantastic streamer here, and he uploads like all of this information to his YouTube channel, and some of the other sites like GitHub and stuff. And so he posts all the code and everything. And so I was able to just grab his stuff. He was like, "Here's the hardware you need. Here's the software. Go to it." And I was like, "Perfect." So I've been. That's pretty much what I did. I just kind of tweaked his code a little bit just to be able to, drive a rover. Versus, I think one of his was just like, I think he has a bubble blowing machine that, blows bubbles when somebody subscribes and stuff. Um,
That is
so yeah,
amazing. Absolutely
yeah,
amazing.
he has a lot of fantastic stuff on his stream. He has like a little snack robot. So if you hit snack whatever, it'll reach into a bowl of chips and it'll bring it to his
Oh
mouth.
my gosh. And who was
So,
this again?
Noise Brew.
Okay. I need to see the
Yeah.
snack robot at least.
Yeah, it's pretty
Priorities
fun.
are
I'll
snacks.
type it in real quick.
Oh, thank
But
you.
yeah, that's how you
Okay,
spell it.
perfect. Thanks. So I'll do a shout out for someone who's not here, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of owe a lot to him, and I try to let him know as much as I can.
Oh,
But
weird. That didn't work. Let
uh,
me try it again.
but yeah, so I think it was pretty much that got me going. And I just kind of, watching other people's streams, I was just thinking like, what could I do? And I want something that would entertain people while I'm sanding parts or something. And so I had the ability to create this little chat rover. And so yeah, now I'm working on chat rover number 2, so there'll be
Ooh.
2 rovers in chat interacting. You guys will be able to drive them around and probably run into each other a lot. And then if that goes well, I'm planning on doing like the little battle bots stuff. So
I was going to ask.
yeah, there's those little arenas that you can buy, and they come with a couple battle bots in them. So I thought that's perfect. The controllers are nice and simple. I think it's just forward, backward on both left and right side, so it's super easy. And that's exactly how these rovers drive. So it
Oh
should
my
work
gosh.
well, I hope.
Yes, please keep us updated on that because I'm a BattleBots fan, and I would
Nice.
love to be
Okay.
in there. Like, I don't know what kind of like tools and such the bots would have, but I would be all about it.
Yeah, I really don't know a whole lot about these toy ones. It looks like it's just basically forward and backward on the left and right wheels, and they must have some kind of weapon thing, I guess. I assume if you hit them in the right spot, they'd probably break open or something like that.
That sounds
So
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah, Laser
yeah.
Geek says that he expects a spinning disc. I think
Oh,
that's
okay.
likely. Yeah, something like that. Or maybe I've seen like hammer type devices. I don't
Yeah.
think they'll have flamethrowers, unfortunately. But maybe
No, not yet.
BattleBots season 2 from you.
Yeah, I remember the early what was it, Robot Wars, I think it was. Like those guys had flamethrowers and stuff. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think yeah, maybe, if I could get the battle bots outside and a little more durable, we could probably add a flamethrower, I imagine.
Okay, I'm
Can't
gonna
be that
hold you
hard,
to
right?
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I've always wanted to do like the mech warrior style things, so
What is
the
that?
walking biped ones
Oh
that
right.
that have like guns all over them and rockets and stuff. And I thought, man, that'd be so cool. Like make little ones and then go battle each other with, firing like I don't know BB guns and I don't know maybe some. I guess it'd have to be bottle rockets or
Oh my
little
goodness.
size A rockets or something like that. So
Yeah,
that would be so much fun.
I don't know if they had it in seasons that you've watched, but at least recently you can have your big bot, but you can also have a little bot, which I call the baby bot.
Oh,
They don't do anything. They just zoom around doing nothing, but they're
I
hilarious.
wow. I recently caught a clip of like a drone that was flying around
Oh, I haven't
and
seen that.
yeah, it's like a drone that had some little flamethrowers on the bottom
Oh my
and
gosh. I need to find that link.
then like somebody attached a rake to their bot and was able to smack it and knock it out of the air.
That is amazing, like a fly swatter.
Yeah, worked pretty
Amazing.
well.
Yeah, so you can see how people like robots because they're amazing, the little battle bots. And
Yeah.
I know that you mentioned wanting to incorporate education into what you do.
Yeah, that was kind of one of the big things for Stray Robotics was we were going to kind of get into like STEM outreach, and so like this little kit is designed for teaching young kids, about 7 or 8 year olds, about solar power and electric motors, and so the plan was to have like a kind of a really nice like assembly guide that would teach kids about solar power. And we have like we have an assembly guide with like one page that kind of shows the electron flow, but I really want to get a little bit more into that. And then we do kind of work with the science museum a little bit, and so I'm kind of like looking forward to maybe getting more involved with them, and I guess ultimately it'd be really cool to have a couple of these rovers as a display at the science museum. So I don't know if that'll fly, but it's definitely a goal of mine. But yeah, we'd like to be able to do some more outreach, and the plan was to kind of keep the rovers at a very kind of a low price point. So we really kind of want to focus more on like the kind of the, I guess, the lower income schools, a lot of the like the inner city stuff. Like we kind of live um, around the like kind of a lower income area of Minneapolis. We're fairly close to them, and just kind of feel like it would be nice to contribute or give back to people. So really want to be able to provide a service to those who may not have the opportunity, I guess.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
for the Science Museum, are you thinking a display where people can use the rovers and drive them within the museum?
Yeah, I think just kind of in my head, I'm thinking like a decent size kind of Mars yard of sorts. So it has some terrain, it has maybe the proper lighting, and I think being that these don't work very well with inside lighting, it needs like direct sunlight. So I would probably have to put batteries in, maybe some wireless charging on the bottom, and but yeah, make it so it kind of teaches kids how to program as well. I thought it would be kind of nice to just have some real simple buttons where you press like forward, right, uh, left, back, something like that, and you could just kind of enter in the code that way, and then hit send, and then have have the rover be able to drive a certain whatever you programmed it to do. So that's the goal, but
That sounds
not there
amazing.
yet.
Oh yeah, I mean future goals for sure. And I see it as being doable absolutely. And the outreach that you mentioned, maybe when schools are in person again, they can have you come in. That would be really
Hmm.
fun, I think, and help promote the education in the communities that you're looking to serve.
Yep, yep. And I think it'll be nice. I hope I can do it. We're still pretty young as a company. I officially started selling these rovers in November, I think, end of November, and that was
Wow.
just to those people that I had on that list from two
Right.
years ago. So, um, yeah, December I was laid off from my job November through December, and so all of December I was just cranking out rovers as fast as I could. Um, and sorry, a little floaty bit, but but yeah, so I've learned some things as I was officially selling, and so now this month I'm working on some new molds because it takes me about 10 hours to make a rover, so I need to at least cut that in half. so
That would be
so
ideal.
I'm re redesigning some silicone molds, and hopefully I'll be streaming that process pretty soon.
Yes, and I know I would love to see
Yeah.
that. And if you say it takes you 10 hours to make a rover, what does that process include?
Everything from pouring resin into the molds to boxing and getting it out the door. So the I think the biggest time suck from most of that was the rocker arms. Um, so I had molds for these rocker arms, and they're two-part molds, and I kind of screwed up on the second part. so so half of the part would come out kind of deformed, and the motors wouldn't fit right, and I have to do a lot of Dremel work and clean it up and do a lot of sanding and stuff afterwards. And so it would usually take me almost 4 hours to make these two rocker
Oh,
arms.
wow.
So if I make new molds of those and make them better, then I assume it would probably only take just a quick like pull them out of the mold, clean up the flashing, pop the motors in, and I'm done. So I think I can shave at least 4 hours off of the process if I do that.
That would be ideal.
Yeah. So I think once I get the process down and I'm able to start kind of cranking them out a little easier, then I'll probably start making multiple molds, and then I can make more rovers at any given time. So and then the plan is to save, I guess, kind of save up enough money from sales to have the parts injection molding, and then after that it's kind of hands off. I just receive a box of parts and I put them in a box and ship them out. So that's the goal.
That would be fantastic. And we're talking about kind of the production process, but why don't we take a step back and talk about what you looked into when you decided to start your business and then what steps you actively took to get the business going.
Yeah. So I guess as a lot of people probably know, I read a lot of business books, and so I was always kind of laying out this groundwork, I guess, because I don't actually I don't really have any business owner friends that I can think of, and and obviously I've gained quite a few now on Twitch, so I could definitely ask them a lot of questions, but at the time, yeah, it was just like Kristen's. She's like a legal paralegal at the time, and so she had a lawyer friend that helped us to kind of get through some of those early steps of getting it registered, getting a oh, what is that, a ROSI registered agent thing. So yeah, so there's a registered agent for any kind of legal issues that would come up, um, and then yeah, we still need to kind of talk about like getting the getting like the logo trademarked and stuff. So still have to do some of that stuff. But yeah, it was kind of a lot of just a little bit of research, knowing some legal help, and then we also I guess we needed a logo, so we ended up outsourcing that to a designer. And um, it's funny now because like I could now that I'm on Canva.com,
Right.
like creating logos and things like that, or using like making emotes and whatnot. So um, I found this gear on Canva. It's like, damn it, I could have done that. so,
It looks good
so
though.
yeah,
It looks good.
yeah. At the time, I mean, this was back in 2012, so I was a long way from ever, being on YouTube or Twitch, and I obviously didn't know anything about graphic design at that point either. So it worked out. We
Hmm.
just I don't think it cost a whole lot, but probably a little more than I guess it should. I don't know. Hard to say. But yeah, so we had to do that kind of stuff, get the logo going, get a website, which our website is still not great. So I would like to change that to more of like an e-commerce website soon. At the time, it was just kind of like a way to show people what we're working on, and kind of a little bit about ourselves. And uh, at the time, it was the big rover that I have called Inspiration, and it was a lot about that one. And so about 2 years ago, I developed this little rover and started kind of putting that on the website. But now I think what I need to do is convert the website to something that is able to sell products, so I can have multiple products. And because like the the rover can have so many different kits, little add-ons and stuff. So it'd be nice to have more items. Right now I'm on Etsy, and I just have like the motors for sale just because I have a ton of motors, and I thought it'd be kind of nice to just kind of be a middleman or whatever for people with those. And then the rover kit, obviously the just the basic rover kit. And I still have to put like the solar panel on there, and any other additional items. But like that's kind of where I'm kind of wondering, like, should I just kind of break free of Etsy and move on to like an e-commerce website and be a little more on my own versus using Etsy?
Yeah, that's a big question for sure. Um, a lot of factors go into that, and I'd love to hear about what you consider when you do look into that. I know that's not really a conversation for today.
Yeah, it's tough. I've been kind of wanting to ask some of you folk out there that are on Etsy a lot and do a lot of your business on Etsy. I've been kind of meaning to ask, like, what's the point where maybe do you break free of Etsy, or do you maintain Etsy and then also just a separate, like, your own website, and you sell on that website as well? I mean, I guess there's probably no point in just dropping Etsy altogether because that's a source of income or a source of sales right there. So it'd be kind of silly to just drop off. But
Hmm.
I know there's kind of that sense of like almost not professionalism, I guess, through Etsy. Like you're just kind of a maker of sorts. It's your hobby, so you're kind of throwing stuff on Etsy to sell. There's that sense of that, I think, with Etsy. But I know it's probably not the case. But that's kind of how I've always viewed Etsy, is like this is a place to sell your art stuff that you've kind of have a side project or whatever. You come home from work and you work on that and you sell stuff on Etsy. And like, I don't know, there's that thing, like, where, like, I don't know, how do you become a little more, I guess, on your own, independent, you just on your own website,
Yeah,
and do you
definitely.
need to do that? So it's a big question I've always had.
That's interesting. That's something I want to look into, definitely. And that's your perception of the website. I'm sure other people share that perception too.
It could be, I could be a totally off mark on that.
Yeah, and if
But yeah,
anyone
I
sells on Etsy or has moved to their own website and wants to share any of their thoughts on that, feel free to put it in chat if you'd like.
yeah, I'd love to know more about that, because like right now I'm only selling on Etsy.
Hmm.
Thinking, as a registered business, should I, separate from Etsy and be my own thing? My own website, my own I don't know, stream of income, I guess.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. A little more independent, totally in
Yeah.
control of your e-commerce platform. There's definitely an appeal to that.
Yeah, I mean, because like you don't see larger businesses on Etsy, as far as I know. So at some point, obviously, Stray Robotics would like to be a larger business.
Sure.
Uh, it would be, I guess, ideal to not be working a day job and make Stray Robotics the source of income for me. Uh, so yeah, lots of opportunity, I think, with it. It's like the name Stray Robotics doesn't really imply anything. So, I could always take take off on different tangents. I could specialize in whatever. Right now I'm just specializing in little educational rovers, but who knows? I could get into like full on production robots or something like that.
As long as there's a
So
robot,
yeah,
I'm happy.
some yeah. Yeah, who knows? I mean, it all depends on how, I guess, how I manage this business, really. And being that, I'm just learning, it's it's like, I don't know, it's a little intimidating, I guess, to think about, farther down the road if this actually becomes a real legitimate business. But it's fun to think about sometimes.
Well, fortunately, you don't have to try to do that right now. That's something that you can build towards. And I know I have confidence. For me, when it comes to people talking about their future goals with businesses, I see it as aim for the highest of what you'd like. Work towards that because it's the whole, what is it, shoot for the moon. At the very least, you'll land among the stars. So
Yeah.
I think it's something like that. But I think it's important to work towards those big goals, to prepare for those big goals, because some decisions you make now, you might want to put yourself in a good position for that. And it is intimidating. It's a big thing. It can be scary at times. And I'm speaking from my own experience too. But easier said than done if you believe in yourself. But if you prepare, you can at least keep yourself moving in that direction and down that path.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's good to kind of set a big goal and work backwards from that. So
Exactly.
you can kind of create your own stepping stones, I guess, just by knowing where the end goal is and just looking back to how would I get there, and here I
Exactly.
am.
At least try for it. And
Yep.
Lovecat says that they heard Etsy has a lot of fees, so is it worth it for someone just starting out? And all I can say to that is that I don't have any numbers. I haven't done any research into it. But I think the biggest thing with Etsy is that they're providing that a way for customers to find you. That's a lot more difficult when you have your own website. So that's something to balance with the fees. I can't say whether it's worth it. Each person's profit margin is different, things like that. But definitely something to consider. And
Yep.
Wolf from Custom Rods is asking Stray, do you feel that your market appeals to the majority of traffic that's on Etsy? Does your brand recognition come from other places and you point them towards Etsy? Or do you have a website now as a landing point? And if so, what's the traffic like on that?
Sure. Yeah, I think right now, being that this is like it's a little STEM education toy, handmade kind of thing. I feel like it is very good for Etsy. Um, and yeah, the reason I went with Etsy is because they didn't have as many fees as some of the other sites. Um, and so yeah, plus they also take care of shipping and taxes. So I don't have to worry about that, and that's like stuff that I just haven't researched yet. And so it was just nice to like throw my product on Etsy because yeah, it's a very good visible source for me to start out on. Um, but yeah, I think at some point I'll figure out shipping. Probably a cheaper way to ship because right now it's like $8 to ship this rover just to another city in my own state. So
That'll
it's
do
kind
it.
of silly, yeah. So I assume there's cheaper ways to ship, and then I assume at some point I'll be able to figure out the tax withholdings and stuff. And then I probably won't need Etsy at that point because they do also take, I think, 7% or something like that from each sale. Um, or I forget, something like that. I was kind of surprised at how much. I think it almost comes out to almost 15%
Oh, wow.
of your sale at some point. So, because I know they were advertising on Facebook and stuff. I didn't even know it as just a little checkbox that I didn't see in Etsy store. So when some random person bought her over, I was really excited, but I was wondering how did this person find it, and and then I saw the bill for the ad that was placed on Facebook, and it was about I think almost $10 for that ad. So
Oh, wow.
it was like pretty much my whole
Wow.
profit was gone. I made a
Yeah.
rover for free.
Oh, and 29 said, I think that's why people switch to their own Shopify site because Etsy has so many fees. However, you also get a lot more traffic and eyes on your products on Etsy than just your own website, unless you have a good marketing plan or people know how to search for you. So definitely, I agree with that 100%.
Yep. I've been watching some like e-commerce stuff on YouTube and kind of learning a little bit on how that works and how you can drive traffic to your website using, you know, certain keywords and Google search optimization kind of things. So yeah, it is a whole world that I haven't quite, really gotten into yet, but
It's a
been
lot.
kind of playing with it a little bit.
Definitely. And for me, I wonder when's the point when you need to find someone to do some aspects of the business for you? Like, is it important or helpful to get someone to do social media marketing for you or at least make a plan? Or is that something that you do yourself and you keep doing yourself? I don't know. That's something I want to look into more. Do you have any
Yeah,
thoughts on that?
I think as I imagine as you grow, it would probably be good to maybe outsource that to somebody. Um, but currently, like in my, um, my state of business here, it's I'm still kind of I feel like I'm still more in the prototype phase yet. I'm not full on selling. So right now it wouldn't pay for me to outsource that. And I think like with like Instagram, you can post on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook all at the same time just by one couple clicks and you're
Very true.
posting off. So it's really not a good reason, I guess, to try and have some like pay somebody to do that for you. But if you could have like a partner, doing that for you, like Kristen will do that sometimes for me, and
Oh,
it's
great.
really nice because um, like her personal account has way more followers than my personal account, so
So she's doing
she
something
gets
right.
more eyes on, and yeah, and she's better at the hashtag game as well. Uh, so it's nice to kind of get somebody who's actually good at hashtagging as well. So that's another thing to look at because I feel like Instagram's really good with the hashtags, and I probably get a lot of my traffic from those hashtags.
Definitely.
So it's kind of an important thing to do, and you have to kind of do it right.
And you mentioned previously that you do a lot of reading about these topics. You watch a lot of YouTube videos. Are there any books or channels that you recommend for anyone who's interested in starting their own business too?
um, let's see. So YouTube, I don't have really anything business wise that I could recommend. It's more, I think, on that sense, I've just been kind of trying to figure out how to do like a kind of a side hustle of sorts. A lot of the videos I've watched were about um, on-demand printing. So I kind of dabbled in that world for a little bit and kind of figured out how to do that, but ultimately it wasn't where I wanted to be, so I kind of stopped. And so I really got dove into like books, and at first it was a lot of like self-help books, how to how to, I guess, fix whatever you think is wrong with you.
They're helpful
It,
though. They're really helpful.
they are good to kind of, I think for me it kind of got me a little more motivated, and and so that got me into the more business related books. And so I guess some of my favorites, I can't say that there's any one particular book that you just have to read. I get little kind of tidbits from each one and try to apply it in my case. And so like Profit First by Michael Lewicks. I can't, but Profit First is a good book for I for a person who has a business, an established business, and if you're always kind of living kind of paycheck to paycheck in a way through that business, and you're not able to really pay yourself very well. This book is really good for being able to. It shows you how to like set aside, like say 1% from every sale goes into a separate account, and that's your profit. And then you take whatever your tax is, if it's like 15% or whatever like that. So you set aside another account that's like 15% of that profit account, and that way you have the money for taxes when taxes are due, and you have a profit that you can pay yourself from. Or if you have like another account that's actually just for your paying yourself, that's good. And then that profit account is just so it's like a tax purpose, so you can say that this is my profit from the business. And you can eventually give yourself a bonus with it. Or if it's a big enough account, at some point you can take a business trip, whatever. So but that's kind of the mentality of the Profit First book. And I'm not quite there yet. I'm still quite a bit in the hole with Stray Robotics. So at some point, when I feel like I'm profitable, then I'll probably do that scenario. I'll set up a separate account that's my profit, and everything else goes back into the business. Uh, Things like that. And then there's Gary Vaynerchuk is a big name for like Crush It, and his other book Crushing It. Those are really good motivational books for getting going. um,
Definitely. I have one of his books on my to read list. It's, I think, The Thank You Economy is his.
yes, I really want to
Yes. Yes.
read that one. That
Um,
one sounds perfect.
and a little thing I found out is that so I'm someone who's getting used to the idea of audiobooks as reading.
Hmm.
Because for me, I always thought I need the text, and then that's how I'm going to consume the information. But I'm learning that maybe that's not the best route for me, and maybe it's not also not the most cost efficient route, because I took a look at all the books that I was interested in. I'll post a link to my Goodreads, I think it's called, where you can post like what you want to read, what you're reading now. And the
Hmm.
vast majority of the books that I was interested in are available through Audible on Amazon. And
Hmm.
I thought, like I can do the trial, I can read, I can listen to the books, and I very rarely pick up a book a second time. So,
Yeah.
is there a reason to have the physical copy? Maybe there's a book that really speaks to me. Audible speaks to me. Oh, it's so funny. But if there's a book that I really connect with, sure, maybe I'll get the physical copy just to have it. But once I'm done studying for the bar, I'm going to start that Audible trial, and I'm going to sit down, relax, really listen to these books and immerse myself in them in that way, take notes, and see how that goes. So, just an idea for anyone who maybe prefers audiobooks or wants maybe a more cost effective way of reading without going to the library. And I wonder if you can check out audiobooks online from libraries. I don't know, they're becoming more tech savvy. That's something for me to look into.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
It's pretty
I
much how
paused.
I do. I pretty much only do audiobooks at this point.
Oh, there you go.
Uh, bas- Basically, yeah, it's nice to, I guess, kind of have something to listen to while you're working on something, or yeah, or like driving. If you have a long commute, it's great for that. Or like at my previous job, I was just sitting down doing kind of mindless AutoCAD drawing, so it was nice to have a book kind of playing, and um, unfortunately, I think with audiobooks is sometimes like I like when I'm driving, like driving is like like I'm focused on driving, and so usually whatever is going on audio audio wise kind of takes a back seat. And so I don't always, pay attention to the audiobook when I'm driving, and I do miss a lot. So, but then I don't know, when I'm reading though, I start to kind of wander off on the physical copy as well. Just maybe I get lost in like word choices or like I don't know, or I don't read very quickly, so it's yeah, I get hung up on certain things and it distracts me there too. So I don't know.
Ah,
It's kind of your choice. If you like to take notes, I guess I would prefer a hard copy, but I don't take notes.
I take them in a notebook, not in the book itself.
Oh, there you go.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. And for me, I also thought this might be a good way to reduce screen time before sleep.
Oh yeah,
Because,
that's a good idea.
I mean, I'll probably still watch YouTube videos, but at least I'll be trying. And Pixel Lumberjack said, I tend to listen to audiobooks multiple times, once at normal speed and again at 1.5 or so to catch things
Ah,
I missed the first time. And Alex
sure.
Waveley said, you can check out audiobooks from the library. 20,
Okay.
yeah, 20 uses the app Overdrive. You hook up your library card to it and you can check out audiobooks or e-text from it for free. So those are some really
Nice.
great resources. I'm going to need to look into those
Yeah, that's
for
cool.
sure.
Yeah, I think thanks to the pandemic, I've acquired a lot of credits on Audible now because I just haven't been downloading books anymore. So, so yeah, I guess after I use up those credits, I guess there's an idea go through the library. But I have started to kind of appreciate my little Kindle Fire, I think it is, or Amazon Fire. But yeah, just kind of being able to actually sit down and relax and read something. It's really nice to do. Like, so I'll do that usually before bed. I'll just kind of wind down and just try to read a chapter. So yeah, it's it is nice to have the physical version because audiobook I'll just end up working while I'm listening to it. So yeah, it's a good way to wind down.
Yeah, definitely. There are a lot of options. We have the physical book, the ebook, or the audio. So
Hmm.
yeah, I can figure out what works for me. I'll try a few things once I have a little more time.
Yeah. Yup. Oh yeah, another a book that I would highly recommend for most of you guys, most of you makers and crafters, is Adam Savage's
Oh,
audiobook. Well, it's regular book as well, but I prefer his audiobook. Every Tool's a Hammer is his book,
I love
and
it.
the audiobook is read by him, so it's fantastic. You get his voice, and, and it's a very inspirational book for all of us makers out there. So I highly recommend that to anybody.
I am definitely adding that to my list and the audiobook for sure because you said he reads it. I
Yep.
need to experience that.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Mythbusters fan.
Nice.
Disappointed when it went off the air, but I understand good things can't last forever.
Yep.
But no, I grew
Yep.
up watching Mythbusters and loved it so much.
Yeah. Yeah. He's amazing, and I follow him on Instagram and stuff, and he's
Ah,
very active on there as well, and doing these 1 day builds that he makes some crazy thing and puts it on YouTube as a little 1 day build project that he did. So it's a lot of fun.
oh,
Just
I'm glad
keeping
that he's
keeping
still
tabs
doing
on
that.
Adam Savage. Yeah.
Yes, I need to do that. I need to add him on YouTube, Instagram, everything.
Yeah, he's such a supporter of every maker. Anybody who makes anything, he is like the biggest advocate for people just picking up a tool and making something. So it's cool. Like people will send him little projects that they made, and he'll just he'll love it. Like it doesn't matter what it is. He'll just be like, "Oh my god, this is amazing! Everybody check this out. This is the person's link," and he gets so excited about people's stuff. So it's good to see that. I think we need to. Well, I know we see that a lot in Twitch. Everybody's very supportive of each other, but I think the rest of the world could probably use a bit more support in making
Definitely.
things.
And his passion comes out with such exuberance that it's inspiring, honestly. You see someone who's so passionate and interested in what they're doing. I find it inspiring for whatever you're working on.
Hmm. Yep. It's I try to. I guess I try to be like that, and I I see a lot of us on Twitch here are very enthusiastic about everybody's content and what they're making, and so it's kind of contagious, I guess.
It
You see
is.
somebody, like like worked lettuce is always so exciting, or excitable. I guess he loves
Yes.
everything that everybody does, and it's contagious. So it's people like that, and obviously many of you others out there as well. I just happened to see worked lettuce's name on the chat, so but yeah, so it's cool to have that group, and I think the makers and crafters community is just so amazing and supportive of what everybody does. So yeah, yeah,
No,
we
I
need more
agree.
of that, I think.
I think we have some great positivity in our community. Like Saki's throwing the lettuce patch emote in chat and Calamity's banana emote.
Yes,
And we
nice.
all want each other to succeed genuinely, which is fantastic. And I love seeing when a community knows that supporting other members does not negatively impact themselves. You're
Yep.
not taking away views. You're not reducing anything for anyone else. And if anything, I say this so often now, after someone mentioned it in their chat, but I really see this as the whole rising tide raises all ships situation, where it's
Hmm.
not a zero sum game. We can all help each other out and all benefit from it.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I think Adam Savage actually says something like that in his book as well. It's just it really it helps everybody if you can be supportive of everything. Every
Yeah.
little bit of work. If it's just somebody who's like, you know, I don't know, making something kind of silly out of Legos. It's like they took the time and they took something from their brain and they made it. And it's worth being positive and excited about. So yeah, and I think I think people kind of say that about like Twitch, like the gaming side of Twitch. I hear is rather toxic, but I don't know. I see some good in that as well. I do occasionally see other streamers being very positive, but it is nice, like the makers and crafters side. It's like you're gonna have support, and there's so many people that are so excited to see what you do. So I am so glad to
Right.
be in the makers and crafters. I know I should probably be in the technology side, science and technology, but I do more making than actual robotics, so
Right.
I
You're
feel like
making
it's
your
only appropriate.
robots.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making them. You're pouring the resin. You're designing the robots. Definitely making and
Yep.
crafting.
Yep. At this point, I guess maybe at some point I could do some coding on screen, and then I'd have to be a science and tech, I suppose. But
You can try it if you
yeah.
want to.
Yep. Yep. I could. I think I've only streamed in just chatting and making and crafting. So just chatting was my New Year's Eve stream, which I think a lot of you guys were there for.
And how did that
It was
go?
a
How
little bit
was
of
it?
a that was that was fun. Yeah, I don't know. I changed the background. I had more of a party theme. Kristen joined me and I got my first hype train. So I think what do we get up to, like level maybe 4, or we are working on 4. I forget. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
that was pretty exciting. Yeah, I'm still actually a pretty small streamer. I think I last I checked, I was at like 187 followers. So it's interesting because like I feel like I get good quality, versus quantity in this case. Like like most of my followers are, in chat most of the time, so it's pretty cool. But like it's that hype train. Apparently it had taken almost a whole year to get a hype train, so it was pretty exciting. But
You have
but it
really good
worked. It worked really
support.
well. Like we all had a lot of fun, and obviously it's New Year's Eve, and so everybody's already excited, and I think we all went off to wind down afterwards, so it went pretty well.
What I really love about, well, there's a lot of things I really love about the MNC community, but one thing I really like is that the it doesn't stop when the stream stops. that we have the Discord communities, people that I would say I have genuine friendships with. Like you said, the wind downs, the video chats where we're able to just, keep chatting with each other, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, I think the wind down is really the only Discord like thing that I really get involved in. Maybe there's others out there that I don't know about, but the Calamity Cat has a really fun event there, and but yeah, and it's things like this, that like so far I know of you and Laser Geek are doing these little vodcasts, and it's really cool because you get to like kind of hang out and get to know the creator. Like you don't really get to see them, just kind of sit down and talk about how they got there or what they're doing exactly. It's usually just they're making something and they kind of talk about what they're making. But so it's nice in this case you get to kind of get to know somebody, I guess, and increase that friendship, I guess.
Definitely. And oh, I confused who had a podcast, but this is an excellent time to ask you about the origin story of Stray Robotics.
Oh, the origin story of Stray Robotics. Okay.
Yes, how did you come up with that name?
Normally I get asked the origin story of Stray Swizzle, but
We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry.
So Stray Robotics. I can't remember if I was talking about this origin story right at the beginning or if it was just before we started. I can't remember.
We'll go over it again.
I was going over the story. Yeah, it was basically, I have that nickname of Stray Swizzle, and so when I kind of got into the robotics stuff, that's kind of where the name ended up coming from, because like all of my like World of Warcraft, I had a character named Stray Fist, and let's see, like I had another guy, like an undead warlock that was like I forget, Stray Dead guy or something. I forget his name, but like everything was like Stray, so like it just naturally, it was like, oh, Stray Robotics then. So yeah, nothing too crazy on that sense. It's just like I needed a name to demonstrate my first rover at Space Fest. So yeah, that's really where Stray Robotics kind of came from. Plus, I thought it was kind of fitting because I didn't exactly know what I was going to be doing in the robotics field anyway. So, I think having the idea that I just make these wandering robots that just really have no meaning and purpose. They just wander. It's like that's kind of what I envisioned with Stray Robotics. Is I just make these weird contraptions that wander around without a purpose. So,
that's perfect. And let me quickly
currently
thank...
I just make rover things.
Yeah, let me quickly thank Dreaming of YouTube for the raid. Welcome in, everyone.
Oh, yay, raid.
Welcome in to everyone who's new. We're chatting. This is Stray Robotics, and we're chatting about his robot journey.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep, I guess so.
Origin story. We're on the origin story of the name Stray Robotics.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry about that, Stray.
No problem. Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys caught my stream on Thursday. I got rated like 5 times. So it's like I was freaking out. I was like in full on panic mode, and I don't know if the stream actually really went anywhere that night. So I totally understand. It's we get the raids and we get to say hi to everybody and enjoy more company, I guess. So
new friends are fine.
Cool.
We like new friends.
Yeah. So yeah, welcome in, Raiders.
Yes, and Wolfram says, just for the record, there is no rule that says you can't stream in the science and technology community and be part of the makers and crafters community too.
Right. Yeah, I recently I actually just got an email from the Knowledge Fellowship on Twitch. There's kind of a group of streamers that kind of do educational content. So I got an email from them today welcoming me into their fellowship. So
congratulations.
Thanks. So yeah, I guess if any of you guys are familiar with Dr. WD-40, he was in on one of those raids on Thursday, and he's one of the co-founders of the Knowledge Fellowship. So I guess that's how I ended up in there.
Sure. And what kind of
So
group is that? What do they do?
uh, they do a lot of different things. It's founded by Dr. WD-40, who does he does a lot of like kind of outdoor stuff. He does like metal detecting on beaches and stuff like that. I think he actually wandered through St. Paul last year. I caught a stream of his, and he was like, in my neck of the woods. It's like, oh my god, he's here. Um, but yeah, then there's the other co-founder is Rocket Sage, and she is a geologist of sorts, I think. So she goes out and out in the field sometimes and does some geology science, or she most of her streams are like she has various minerals that she likes to display and talk about. So it's pretty much anybody who tries to teach things to people. So I mean, I think in a way, a lot of the makers and crafters could probably be in this knowledge fellowship because you guys are always, sharing how to do stuff. So I think anybody could really be in it at some point.
Well, congratulations. That sounds like a perfect fit.
Yeah, they're really cool.
And
Good
do they
group of
have,
people.
yeah, and do they have a Discord or anything that you want to share?
Yes, they do. I don't have a link offhand.
Okay, well,
Um,
I'll just put the name, and I can follow up in my Discord with a link to that Discord.
yeah, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I do have Discord there. I see it, but I'm afraid to click on anything in Discord, otherwise my audio might go away.
I understand. I don't want to touch anything.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So let's see. Where were we?
Can you
Um,
tell us a little more about Stray Swizzle?
oh, geez. So yeah. So if any of you guys were in on the New Year's Eve stream, you, I guess, kind of met Stray Swizzle in a way. um, so Stray Swizzle has been kind of my alter ego for, oh man, it's been probably 15 years or so now. Something like that, maybe more. So back in 2004, I was I I was in my summer internship, and I was out in Chicago, or kind of the northern suburbs of Chicago, and so I was just kind of wandering around the mall, as mall goths do. And so I wandered into this Spencer's, and this girl behind the counter was like, "Hey, you look like you should be in a band." I'm not. And so she said, "Well, do you want to meet some?" I said, "Yeah." So I met her after work that evening, and she brought me to the south side of Chicago, and brought me to like this house party full of punks. And there's like this punk band that she was friends with, and she, as we're getting out of the car, she's like, there's way too many mics at this party. I need to call you something. And so when we walked in the door, she's like, "Hey guys, I picked up a stray." And then she's like, "That's it. You're the stray." And so so she introduced me to everybody at the party as the stray. And ultimately, um, I met a ton of other people in the south side of Chicago via her throughout that summer internship. And so a lot of people started calling, only knew me as the stray. And when I came back after my last year of college, I moved out to Chicago, and I already basically had a friend base out there, and they only knew my name as Stray. They didn't know my name was Mike. So I spent several years in Chicago um, with as Stray. Like nobody knew my name, and the Swizzle part came actually a little later from when I was making the transition from MySpace to Facebook. Facebook required a last name, and so I had this friend who, like, for some reason he couldn't. seem to call me Stray. He always kept calling me something else, like Swizzle Stick and stuff like that. So I just took the name Swizzle, and it just kind of fit. It was just Stray Swizzle. It just sounds like kind of a fun name. And so yeah, I just kept going with that, Stray Swizzle, and that was kind of my, my, I guess my party alter ego. So my parents didn't know I was on, Facebook until quite a few years later, um, because basically the stuff I was doing was not exactly how they raised me. So so I just maintained this Stray Swizzle persona, I guess, as I was roading for different bands in the area, and just doing the things that bands do. A lot of partying, a lot of road trips, and just shenanigans, I guess. So yeah, it's that's pretty much it. That's how I got the name Stray. I hope you guys can't hear that, but occasionally I get little messages here. But
Yeah, we're not getting any
yeah,
alert
so
noises.
yeah, yeah. Are you actually hearing that? I
No,
guess I.
just
Okay,
you
good.
talking.
Okay, good.
But
So,
we love a good origin story.
yeah, so yeah, I roadied. I can't say I was like exactly a professional. They did pay me occasionally, but yeah, roadied for various metal bands and some industrial bands, and just basically kind of did the Chicago scene, I guess. At the time, I guess kind of the goth scene in Chicago was actually starting to die, so it's kind of a sad time to join, I guess. They Everything was kind of starting to fade out. A lot of the bands were going away, and there wasn't much left of the scene. I remember being at one of these bars and asked one of my good friends who was DJing at the time, and it's like, is this it? Is this like the goth scene of Chicago? Because I'd always recognize the same people in all the different bars and clubs, and like, this is it, isn't it? And he's like, yeah, kind of is. so, so yeah, at some point, decided moving back to Minnesota was kind of the thing to do. Start being responsible. Luckily, like I met Kristen out there, and she wanted to go to Minnesota, and she was kind of tired of the Chicagoland area as well. So yeah, so we got here and became sort of responsible adults. So
What is that?
adults as one can be. Like, we don't have any kids, so I still feel like people with kids are more adult than me. So I don't know. Like if there's ever a scenario that suddenly goes down, it's like I look to the people who have kids like for help.
What do I do? Exactly.
I'm
And
like,
how
you're an
do
adult.
I know it's like now when there's something happening, you want to find the adult, but then you remember you're an adult, and it's
Right.
very confusing.
Yeah. Like I turned 40 this year, and I still kind of feel like a kid, but I like actually had to sit down the other day, and I was like, I'm an adult. Like when I was a kid, I was like, a 40-year-old is definitely an adult. I had to actually tell myself that the other day. It's like, I am officially an adult.
I mean, maybe technically.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the secret. That when we're kids, we think of adults as being like a whole different, I don't even know what would it be like. Like they have it together, they know things, they can figure things out. But
Yeah.
really, I know I'm not the first to say this, but really they're just figuring it out as they go. At least I can say
Really?
I am.
I
Yeah.
think that's it. Yeah. Yep.
Never gonna know
Yeah.
everything.
Nope, not really. Just kind of figure it out. A lot like Sasaki here is mentioning got guy liner tips. Like, I figured that out. Figured that out on my own. I think at the time, YouTube wasn't really a big deal at the time, so it wasn't like I could watch a how-to video on that. So I just took some eyeliner, called it guy liner, and just started smearing it on, rubbing it on as best I could to imitate a lot of my friends that were in the bands. And actually, after a while, I looked more like in a band than most of the band members.
So you became a pro at eyeliner. That's awesome.
What's that?
You became a pro
Yeah,
with your
yeah.
eyeliner.
Yep, and yeah, the male polish. I called it male polish. I pretty sure I picked up those terms from someplace else, but I just kind of started to own it. Um, so yeah, it's I'm glad I can share some tips with folks on how I do that.
That's awesome. And are we going to get another Stray Swizzle stream anytime soon? Maybe for your 1 year
uh,
anniversary?
oh man, I
It's,
hadn't even thought
it's
about
just an
that.
idea.
Yeah, that's coming up here. 4 more days will be my 1 year anniversary.
That is so exciting.
Hmm. But that'd be like in the middle of the week. Got a job and whatnot. So,
You can do it on the weekend. You can have your celebratory stream on the weekend.
there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We could probably do something, I guess. Maybe a little wind down action or something. I don't know.
that sounds
Um,
good.
it,
You just
it's
let us know.
it's weird, like kind of being being here partying by myself in a way. I know all you guys are like there watching and chatting and stuff, but it's like I'm still by myself.
It is.
So
It's a little
it's nice to
different.
like at least with wind down, you have other cameras and you're like, okay, you're sitting down, you're partying. So,
Yeah, maybe you can host something like that instead, if that's what you prefer,
yeah,
rather than partying on your own looking at text on a screen.
right.
I
Yeah,
get
I think
that.
that'd be a lot more fun.
So there
Yeah.
was another question I wanted to ask you that I know we're jumping like right back into the business talk of it, but is there any advice you have based on obstacles you had to overcome or ran into, where you would want to share some tips or advice with someone who's a few steps behind, maybe looking to start their own business?
Oh wow. Yeah, that's a good question. I guess.
Yeah.
um,
Any way you could
I
have made
think
things easier.
yeah, I think really a lot of it is just like asking people. Um, you know, I feel like I'm at the point where I could probably use a mentor. So I've been kind of reaching out to various like small businesses or whatever, and, just kind of asking for some advice. I went to a gaming store recently. Um, it's just one of those little game shops that do board games and things like that. And I was like, hey guys, like obviously you don't make this product, so how do you get a hold of it and still have enough of a profit when you sell it? and it's it's just silly question like that. I think that a lot of business people probably know about, but it wasn't really something I could figure out. Is how do you get a hold of product if you want to sell it? And they told me, find a distributor, find a wholesaler, and and so I've been now looking at wholesalers for different STEM education toys because my little rover isn't really going to cut it by itself. I feel like I need to kind of branch out and start selling other STEM related kits at this point. So yeah, I think finding like a mentor would probably be a good idea, or just asking people, anybody who's just a little bit ahead of you, you know,
For
ask
sure.
ask them what to do. If you have a question, just go and ask. Sometimes, yeah, like I felt kind of silly walking into the shop, and I did buy a board game from them just to just to
That was
feel
good.
better. But yeah, so I do that, and also um, so these two ladies that I go to for my haircut, every 6 weeks. So for the past several years now, I think I was always kind of asking them different questions, but then they recently opened their own business, and I think that's been going on for probably 2 or 3 years now. And so I was always asking them questions. What do you do here? What's at what point do you decide like you make enough money where you can pay somebody to help, and things like that. Like how do you I don't know, how do you do these different aspects of owning a business that you just don't really know about until you actually start doing it? So
Right.
yeah, they've been kind of my go-to for advice quite a while now.
That's awesome that you have people like that
Yeah,
that you can ask questions to. And I think it was genius of you to go into the shop, the game shop, and ask them those questions too, because you can't expect to just know that on your own. And that's some pretty difficult information to find too.
yeah, and I think I probably should have been asking for help a long time ago, just kind of just advice, really. I tend to really operate in a bubble. I don't. I'm always kind of afraid to really talk about what I'm doing because I guess I don't know. I just feel like people are just going to kind of laugh at me or something, or think that I'm just this is just some kind of hobby. so so I always kind of just operate in a little bubble, and obviously now I stream on Twitch, so I'm definitely not in my bubble anymore. But it's good to reach out, I think. If you have any friends that are a little bit farther along, or maybe they have an MBA, business degree. I have one of those. I have a friend that has a business degree, and he gave me a lot of really good advice right at the beginning, but I wasn't in that position at the time to really utilize the advice. So I kind of forgot now, and I have to re-ask the questions, I suppose. But yeah,
Sure.
so I think just finding a mentor, if you can, anybody who's kind of maybe in your line of work or whatever.
Right, or even just the small
Yeah.
business questions in general, like you mentioned, with the game shop, with the women who cut your hair. And I think that the hesitation to tell people about plans for your own business is definitely not unique. It's something where, and I'm speaking for myself, not speaking for you, of course, that it's things like being worried, will they take my idea seriously? What if I don't succeed? But I think letting people know about what you want to do, you get a lot more support than you think.
Yeah.
Just for me, most recently, things like studying for the bar exam, I was worried about telling people because what if it doesn't go well? What if I feel more pressure? But
Mm.
it's been a wonderful outpour of support and kindness, and maybe that's just because I'm lucky with the MNC community. But I also find that sharing plans with people makes them feel more real, gives me a little more of a sense of accountability in a positive way. So that's how I view it. I like to plan through things a little bit first, see where they're going, and once I have an idea of what I'm looking to do, maybe I'll tell a few people that I feel comfortable with, and then see how that goes.
Hmm. Yeah, I think since I started streaming, that like the stream was kind of holding me accountable in a way. So, I kept making progress because I always wanted to have something new for each stream, and so I keep making progress on what I'm doing, and uh, so that helped a lot. Plus having the support, because there's so many people on Twitch that are so supportive and knowledgeable different things. Like I see like Wolfram, Wolfram owns a business and streams it, so um, so like that's obviously someone I can kind of look up to, I guess, as a business owner. So, um, so that's really awesome to kind of have that support. And I never would have, I, I mean, I would have like kind of a very narrow bit of support. Obviously, like like close friends and family and stuff would be like my only little bit of support. But I feel like, being out on Twitch now, it's like you have a broader scope of people, and people who don't really know you personally, and you can get their advice without it being kind of maybe diluted by because it's like a family member obviously is going to love everything you do, but a stranger on Twitch is free to say, hey, that's stupid, you should try something else. Um, so luckily I haven't had that, and I've actually had a lot of support from everybody on Twitch, and I have a
That's
little
wonderful.
list above me of various Twitch streamers that would like one of my rovers when I get the chance to make one. So it's kind of a neat way to actually sell products. It wasn't really what I intended, but uh, yeah, it's also kind of a good way to just get your name out there, I guess, as well.
Sure, and you're finding more people who are interested in what you do and that want to support you, but also they want a cool rover. You make some pretty cool things.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is like, you know, I guess as a maker, a lot of you guys know it's just like um, when you make something, you see all the flaws, you see all the stupid things that you maybe could have done better, and that's how I see these rovers. I'm always amazed that people want one. So it's nice to have that support, that Twitch support here.
Right? And we definitely don't see the flaws that you do. To me, they're amazing and they're perfect. Could use a little more iridescence and glitter, perhaps. But no,
Yeah.
actually, that's something I'm sure a lot of people deal with, and I know I do too. Is that you know every single thing that goes into your items, that goes into what you make, but other people aren't going to see all of the defects or flaws that you do. And if
Yep.
anything, they're probably not even that big of a deal. But as the maker, you see them.
Yep. Yeah, I kind of, yeah, I what have I sold 7 of these things so far. And I'm always just thinking like, what are they gonna think when they open this? When they open the box, is it gonna be like, oh, here's something that's kind of loose and wobbly, or this looks kind of funny, and or will they just be like, oh, this is amazing, and they put it together and play with it?
I'm gonna go with the second one there. It's most
I hope
likely.
so. Oddly enough, I haven't had any really responses from the 7 people that bought one. I think most of them are from the North Country here, so the sun isn't exactly very prominent these days. So kind of have to wait until April or May or so before the sun really starts coming back, where these little rovers solar panel thing can collect enough sunlight to drive. Like right now, it's inside lighting is not making it go. So
Mhm.
it's difficult right now. I'll try and play with it outside, and it's you almost have to like tilt it towards the sun to get it to do anything.
But at least it
But
seems that the people in the same area, they know that they're not coming to you saying my rover's not working because they
yeah,
understand it needs sun and they're going to wait until it's a little more sunny, which is great.
yep. I tried to iterate to them, up front. It's like this thing will not work indoors.
Hmm.
Like you have to put it outside in the sun, and that's kind of one of the like things that in the back of my mind is just like, gosh, I maybe I should be making these so they do work indoors. Maybe I need a bigger solar panel, and and so I keep thinking as people unbox these things and they put them together and on their table, and it doesn't go anywhere. Are they kind of secretly thinking it's defective? So I don't
Yeah,
know.
it
Those are the
seems like
things
you
that I
give
worry
them
about.
enough information for sure.
Yeah, I try to. Whether they read it or not, I don't know. It's like my Etsy page is, this big long description of how this thing works and where it works, and normal lighting doesn't drive it and stuff like that. But that depends if anybody actually reads that or not. I don't know. So that's
So
all I can do.
you mentioned a bigger solar panel. That wouldn't make it work indoors, right? Would that be batteries or something to that effect?
Yeah, obviously, like batteries would be better, I guess, for like an indoor use. But yeah, if I went with like a larger solar panel that was able to collect more, I think, more like a incandescent light. I don't think LEDs, like
Oh,
these
okay.
shop lights, are LEDs. I don't think those will ever be powerful enough for most little solar panels. So, but yeah, if I got like a bigger one, it would be able to generate enough power from regular light bulbs, I think.
That's awesome. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
they it might have to be kind of big. I'm honestly not sure. I'd end up like have this little rover here, and I could kind of imagine the solar panel needing to be, you know 5 times bigger.
Oh
I
my
guess
goodness.
it would be kind of silly.
A
Yeah,
limited edition, maybe.
yeah. So yeah, it's things like that where I'm just kind of thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't have started selling these yet. Like maybe I should have designed them to work indoors before I started selling these. Yeah, I'm always very critical of things like that.
We can tell.
It helps to have the supporters here.
Yes, and I mean, my response is I think it's a great product to have, a great item for kids to learn STEM and to use it outdoors. And there can always be an opportunity for an indoor model too.
Yep, yep, I think so. I think once these are not taking up so much of my time, I'll be able to create something different, something a
Hmm.
little I don't know, maybe a little more useful. I don't know. So yeah, lots of little ideas are kind of rolling around upstairs that I'll be able to do once I have more time to do them, I guess.
That
So
sounds
yeah,
great. And do you customize them at all?
not yet, but but thanks to the charity stream that we all did, I do need to make a custom rover, and I've been kind of learning how to do that. So so some of my past streams here have been trying to figure out um, how to add different pigments and stuff. And so I'm always kind of
Oh, right.
bouncing ideas off of Sasaki, and Silver was going to offer some help on how to make different pigments stick. So yeah, I need to come up with some sort of kind of a party rover, maybe. I'm not sure. Everybody's asking for a party rover.
Party rover.
But I have no idea what the winner of my charity event actually wants yet. I haven't really reached out and asked.
Well, if you are to make a party rover, what do you have in mind to add the party to the rover?
Yeah, I think that's it's everybody kind of has a different definition of a party, I suppose. So it's hard to say. I know like 29 really wants glitter, like
Because
glitter
29
wheels
has
and
great
stuff.
ideas.
Yeah. And I think like Sasaki was talking about I think we were doing like the chameleon color shift kind of stuff. And then I think there was another idea of flashing LEDs. Yeah,
That'd be
Silver
awesome.
has one where there was the idea of making them kind of more clear, and you could have lights inside. That's where like I'm not an artistic person exactly, so I need ideas, I think, in that realm for what would be considered cool and party-esque. Otherwise, I'll just make it black.
That's a party too? I mean, I'm on Team 20. I want to see the glitter. The
Okay.
resin with the flashing LED lights would be awesome. I think it's those, like, what are they called? Fairy lights, twinkle lights. You can very easily put those in resin when you pour it. So,
Oh, well, that's an idea.
got lots of good ideas.
Yeah.
Lots
Yep.
of options there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm probably going to need some help with that. I think, although all you more experienced resin casters out there are going to have to give me some insight, because really I've only learned how to make them kind of a gold color and like golden gray and stuff.
What do you use to make them that color?
Um, well, it took me a while to finally figure out about like the pigment, like the more like makeup style pigment.
Mm,
I was using like a resin dye for a while,
right.
and the dye was always kind of coming out somewhat transparent, and I could never get the gold color I was looking for. And
Mm.
like art was pretty much the only subject I failed in school. So um, that's oddly enough, yes, you can fail art. And um, I couldn't figure out how to make gold out of the prime colors, I guess. And so I struggled with that for a while, and then I've eventually found just gold pigment
Exactly.
that you use in makeup, and it's like, aha. so so I started mixing that in with the resin and getting the color that I wanted, but it wasn't always consistent,
Mm.
and not like each rover was just a slightly different shade of gold. So so yeah, I need to kind of take some advice from more experts out there, and like Silver was saying, like I could paint the silicone mold with the
Oh,
gold
yeah.
pigment instead of adding it to the resin. So
And in
so I
case
need to
I,
work.
oh yeah, in case I seem like I know what I'm talking about, I don't do any resin work. But I watch a lot of resin TikToks on YouTube.
Right.
So while I can't explain how something is done, I've seen that done, and it looks really cool. And you can do that with the duotone, duochrome colors that Sasaki has mentioned, I think, too. So I'm just excited to see what you come up with.
I love the was it ethereal, however you pronounce that. I wrote it down. um Ethereal dust, that
Ooh.
Sasaki. Sorry, I'm now seeing the back of my head in the stream delay. Sorry, sorry about that. But yeah, so it's ethereal dust, and yeah, that looks amazing. I think having that in like the rover body, being that it's kind of a spacey sort of thing. I think it would be cool to have like that space sort of look to it.
That would be awesome.
But yeah, I know like we had like one of the things about my stream is that I guess I failed to mention that it was originally just to talk about business, and so occasionally we will discuss things like should I charge extra for a custom colored rover, or should I just just make different colors and let people pick. So yeah, I don't know, things like that I guess is stuff that should be discussed.
Yeah,
So I don't know
that's
if
great.
is it worth like just doing custom stuff kind of for free, or should I charge like a crazy amount of money for custom resin? So don't know yet.
Well, LiDAR thinks yes, you charge
Yeah. I've
for
gotten some really good
customization.
advice from LiDAR. Yeah. um, yeah, I imagine I should charge. That I mean, it's time consuming and
Definitely.
obviously something that I should charge for. So but how do you charge for something that you don't really know how to do yet?
That is an excellent question. Does anyone in chat have any ideas for that? Or is it something you practice a little bit first, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, that's a tough one because like I mean, everybody kind of does their practice runs and maybe, gives those to friends and family and stuff. So, I mean, I could always do that as I learn. But yeah, I suppose at some point when I really kind of nail the process down, I could see it being something I could charge for.
Sure. And
But
I know that Sasaki has samples of resin that he's poured, just like, I don't know if they're discs or blocks or something like that, where he can see the color in its finished state. If you're looking to use a new color, you can make a piece. You don't need to make a whole robot at first, I guess, until you get the
yep.
color the way you want it.
Yeah, and like I I totally would have been making parts like had I not seen Sasaki's little like box of samples.
Oh my
It's like
gosh. I
that
love
is
that box of
brilliant.
samples. It's so smart.
I know, it's like it's so simple, but it's one of those things that you just don't think to do. Another fantastic thing I got from Sasaki was these squeeze bottles.
Ooh, yes.
So you put your resin in squeeze bottles so you can accurately pour it out in the amount that you need. It's
You mean
like,
you don't have to make a mess?
right, yeah,
Who would have
it's so
thought?
clean and organized. Like you can write on the bottle whatever you have, and then like you can see I'm low on this stuff, so it's like, okay, I need to go purchase some, or I know I have like a whole gallon upstairs that I just have to refill this, but at least like you kind of know like, okay, I should probably get an order out for this material. So
That's awesome.
it's just like it's amazing. It's so simple. And I
I've
never would
also
have thought to do it.
I've also seen people use pipettes for really small molds. I don't know if any of your molds are small, but I mean,
Oh
these
no,
are awesome ideas.
that is a good idea. Yeah, I think in another stream we are discussing about using like syringes, I guess,
Yeah.
to push your resin into a mold. But yeah, most of my molds are pretty big, so I wouldn't really like. I'd end up having to use a couple of syringes, I think, to fill most of my molds. So I'm usually somewhere around like the uh, 25 grams of material at a time. I think the body is about 52-ish or 100. Yeah, probably more like 100 grams. Um, so it's a fair amount of resin that I'm pouring with each one. So.
And do you use the squeeze bottles to pour the resin in the mold?
No,
No, okay.
yeah, you just like I have a little scale. So so you put a cup on the scale and you can measure out how many grams of A and B, and
Okay.
then add like your dye or your pigment. Like in my case, I would add the pigment to the clear one. Um, like you can see one's kind of a yellow tint, the other one's clear, and so I
Mm-hmm.
usually add the color to the clear one so I can kind of get a feel for what color I am aiming for,
Mm-hmm.
and then you mix the two together and stir it up and pour it in. Most of my resin's set up in about I think they have about a 7-minute working time or
Oh,
pot
wow.
life, and they're usually fully cured within 2 hours. So yeah.
Do you mind if I ask you what brand, or is that a trade secret? Because I always thought of
um,
resins as taking 24 hours.
nope. I go with Smooth On. They're pretty popular. I think a lot of the um, more, what would you call it, like special effects type companies and things like that. Um, I know like a lot of the artists, use the stuff that they find at Michael's or the other craft stores, and I recently purchased some of that as well, and it smells so bad.
Oh no.
It's like it like I think I used a little bit. I used a little bit for this little thing I was making for my grandparents, and it stunk up the house for like a couple of days.
Oh wow.
So I love this like smooth on stuff because you can kind of customize it to what you want. So you have different setup times, different working times, whatever, and you have different kind of viscosities.
Mm-hmm.
If you want it kind of like a soft, flexible material, or do you want it, very hard where you can machine it? So you get all sorts of different options out there, and then yeah, they don't smell as bad. So
That's definitely a plus.
yeah, yep. And that's where I get my silicone as well. So like, this is a early silicone mold I created for the solar panel clips.
Oh,
And
nice.
kind of wasted a lot of material. I probably didn't need to do this. I was kind of being lazy, and I think it kind of came back and bit me. But yeah, so it's like basically it's like a two-part mold that I cut open, and that way when I fill fill this end, all any kind of air and stuff will vent out this end,
Oh.
and eventually you'll see the material coming up through this hole as well, and then you let it cure, and then once it's cured, you can open the mold up and pull your part out, and yeah, it kind of got the job done, but I should have probably pressure casted this because once I started putting it in a pressure pot, uh, the resin would actually get pushed into little micro bubbles in the silicone,
Oh, wow.
and so every part would come out with all these like little pimples all over it that I'd have to scrape off, and it was really annoying. So I essentially just scrapped this mold here,
Mm.
but but yeah, so that's the kind of stuff that I would do on stream as well, just making silicone molds and whatnot. Um, but using smooth on materials, so you can get various, um, you know, I guess strengths, whatever. I forget the terminology for that now, but like you can get it like really soft and flexible. So if you're making like a mold of like somebody's head, you want it pretty pliable that you can peel off. And then, for my case, I want it pretty rigid so my parts don't come out kind of, odd shaped. So, yeah.
Definitely. And you
But
mentioned that you made the molds on stream. What kind of streams do you have planned coming up?
so coming up, I do need to make a new mold for. Well, let me reach over here. um, so I have these two new rocker arms that I 3D printed, and I've been trying to save chat or whatever, people following the terrible sanding that needs to get done. There's just like an awful lot of sanding to make this nice and smooth, because 3D printed parts always have ridges and stuff that you need to kind of fill in. So I've already basically dipped these in filler primer to take up all the different layers of 3D print material. Um, but I still need to do a lot of sanding, and I was trying to spare people the sanding process, but I think I'm probably going to be doing some sanding streams. So those are going to be, just some chill
Stray
chill
Swizzle
streams of,
story time, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, probably a lot of story time. I mean, that's also why I have chat rovers, so people can do that while I'm sanding. Unfortunately, it'll be sanding ASMR streams, so you'll be hearing the scritching sounds. But eventually, once I get the parts, fully smooth, like super smooth as much as I can. Then I will position them in a way where I can then pour silicone over them, and I'll be kind of demonstrating how that works, and then how to vent the so I'll have to probably add some probably like little dowel rods onto this face, and then pour silicone over that, and so that'll provide like a um, it'll provide like a I guess a vent for resin. When I pour resin in, air and more resin will be able to flow out through all these little vents. So yeah, I'll be kind of demonstrating that coming up, but I'm not real sure when.
Now I'm looking forward to it whenever that happens.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so. Hope it'll be soon because I really need to start selling rovers again. So
That would be ideal.
yeah, yeah. Otherwise, I'm just kind of doing this for the fun of it. But yeah, I really need to get back to selling. This whole month now has been just kind of on hold. I kind of took the rover down from Etsy and stuff. I might still have one. The idea is like if I do end up selling one, that would kind of give me the kick in the pants that I need to get these molds done. But yeah, right now I've just been kind of taking a break, I guess. I've been a little bit overwhelmed. New job, um, and it's winter now, so it's like I have to maintain the house and keep all the move snow, all that kind of stuff. And it's it seems to snow like every other day, so I'm always moving snow. So, but yeah, and that's just general life stuff,
Hmm.
and it just kind of gets overwhelming. And you know spending 10 hours a rover, it's just it gets to be too much sometimes. And
Yeah,
then streaming on
definitely.
top of that. So streaming can be kind of a job in itself. So um, I like to uh, kind of tell people I have three jobs. So I have my usual 9 to 5, and then I have the Stray Robotics that is making rovers and trying to sell rovers, and then I have Twitch streaming, which is it's only 4 hours out of the week, but then there's all the stuff off camera that has to get done as well. So it's got kind of a full plate here.
Definitely, you have a lot going on right now, and I think a lot of people on Twitch, they feel that too, that they're balancing a lot of things. I think a lot of people are working while they stream, and then some people want to make it a business, and it's a lot. It can be really difficult trying to figure that out.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and I was actually kind of debating on like going down to like 1 day a week on streaming, just so I could kind of focus more on making things, making rovers, selling rovers, or just trying to maintain a personal life, I guess, as well. Um, like Kristen and I don't see much of each other, even though we both work from home. We work in different rooms, and then so like I work here in this same spot, and after work I just basically turn 45 degrees over to rover stuff, and I'm just here most of the day, and then and then she has her job, and then after her job she goes to the gym, or now she's working on a master's
Oh,
thesis
wow.
for space law and policy. So that's taking up a good bit of her time, and so yeah, we just don't see much of each other. And I kind of was thinking maybe I should kind of slow down on the streaming.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
that's what you need. Yeah,
Yep.
if you're streaming 1 day a week, I speak for myself. I'll be there. I'll support you with the stream.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a life, if possible.
It is.
And it's a difficult
It,
time right now with everything, and then everything you're balancing.
yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I went into last Thursday's, or this past Thursday's stream. Um, I didn't stream on Tuesday like I normally do, and I went into Thursday as like, man, I don't want to stream. I need some more time, and I was getting ready to message Super Cow. It's like, hey man, I'm not going to be streaming tonight, and but I don't know. There's just something that's like, well, everybody's been waiting on seeing this this rover body with the pigment, or at least I assume everybody was waiting. I don't know if anybody actually cared,
With bated breath.
yeah. So, so I decided, okay, that I'll go live and I'll show what this rover body looks like with some chameleon flake in it and stuff, and I don't know, it was just like once I got on and started talking to everybody, it felt better. Like I just kind of,
Hmm.
I don't know, I didn't feel as overwhelmed for some reason. I think it was just being able to kind of hang out with people and talk to them versus sitting here by myself all day. So
Well, I'm glad that it
apparently I
was
was just
good.
overwhelming myself, and all I needed to do was just get online and start talking to people. So and then ultimately got rated 5 times
Which is
in that stream.
amazing.
So it was just, it was, I guess I don't know. I guess to me that probably says I should maybe stick to streaming twice a week at least.
If you can.
So,
Yeah, people like
yeah.
watching you and the robots. We love the robots.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I still need to get R2 available for chat. Been kind of looking more into that. There's another guy who was originally on YouTube. Um, he I can't think of his name, but he started on Twitch recently and quickly became a partner because all of his followers from YouTube came over, and he's doing something with a kind of a chat rover of his own, and he did it in a way where he set up Twitch, like a separate account on Twitch for his little rover, and so all the commands and stuff were being done off on a different account.
Oh,
I was like, that's a
interesting.
really good idea. So you don't have like my chat being kind of used up with commands. So I was thinking that's a pretty cool idea. Plus he has a camera on the rover, so these people are free to like cruise around in his shop, which I don't know if that's really possible here, but it was really fun to watch because he would go off to go do something, and they'd end up like somehow opening his fridge, and
How do
they'd
they do
knock
that?
stuff off the shelves and stuff. So it was really fun. So I feel like I
Mayhem.
could probably get some advice from him.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't know. Just need to make it a little more entertaining. Then there's also the thought, like, if I could just do, kind of like the 3D printer streams where, it's just that. Um, but like, what if I could just set up a stream and people could just drive the rovers? I don't even have to be here. It's just
Just
let
a
them
rover
drive.
chat.
And yeah. So Claw Arcade is another streamer that has based like your arcade claw machine set up with chat commands. And
Those
I
are
don't know if
fun.
he's really around it all the time. He doesn't talk or anything. He just probably kind of maybe hangs out and maintains it a little bit. But yeah, chat can pick little stuffed animals out of the claw machine, and then eventually he comes back and he puts all the animals back in. So yeah, it's pretty fun. And I could probably do something like that, I suppose. Yeah,
Sure.
if I had a larger space for the rovers.
A
Yeah.
claw machine for your rovers. No, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Pick up the
Yeah.
rovers.
Just set up the Mars yard kind of thing, and let people drive around like first person view or something.
Oh, that would be so
On
fun.
the rovers. So, yeah. Yeah, it's an idea.
Yeah,
It'd be nice if I could do that. Just kind of keep people entertained is really, I mean, that's what Twitch is all about. It's entertaining people. So
that's true. And I think you have
yeah,
some great options for things you can do in the future.
yeah, yeah. I think so. It's all up to your imagination. That's one of the things I love about Twitch. Like, I was also kind of thinking, like, this green screen technology. I feel like it's not being utilized the way it should be. I know, like, the Sushi Dragon is like amazing at green screen stuff, and there's a few others, but I feel like we could do better. Not better than sushi, but like just
Yeah,
better,
sure.
like in general. Like I have all this space behind me. I could be showing a video and standing next to it, or
Oh, that
you know,
would be
or
cool.
especially like teachers. like teachers have this fantastic opportunity right now where they could be standing in front of a green screen and teaching their students, whatever, on a green screen, and do basically like how the weather forecast gets
Oh
done.
my
You
gosh.
just stand there and talk about whatever.
That would be
and I,
amazing.
I feel like we could probably do that as general streamers, just be a little bit more interactive and a little bit more fun. So
That would be
something I'm gonna
fun.
be looking into in the future here.
Sure. And I was looking at green screens at one point and decided it wasn't something I needed for my streams, at least not now. But there was one that I ended up ordering and returning, and it sits on the floor and you kind of pull it up, and then it just stays in place. And then when you're done with it, you can pull it down. And it
Oh
was
yeah.
really nice. I liked that a lot. So that if someone needs one for a space where they can't like hang it from a wall or they don't want a whole big contraption holding up a green screen, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a green screen personally, but yeah, I think it would be maybe something I'd look into, is something like that where you'd just be able to pull it down from the ceiling or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool. And then I figure out how to do videos and kind of interact, with the video and,
That'd be
on
great.
this green screen or something. I think that'd be a lot of fun. You could definitely do some good education stuff. Like in my case, I could be, I could have like a Mars scene behind me and basically kind of look like I'm on Mars and start talking about Mars and the rovers and maybe have a video on the rovers. And I know Perseverance is landing on Mars here on February 18th, I think. And like that would be a really good scenario for me. I could be here like, on Mars
That
and
would be
and
great.
like saying, okay, here's Perseverance's landing spot. Yeah, it's going to be here, and
Oh my
and
gosh, that
here's
would
what
be
it's gonna do.
amazing.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. And like um meteorites actually do land on Mars. Curiosity found a few of them, and so it'd be fun to like reach down and like pick up a rock. Like here I am on Mars, and oh, here's a meteorite. And, yeah, start talking about how meteorites impact Mars. I mean, there's so much possibility here with these things. So I feel like as like the makers and crafters that we are, we could probably do some pretty awesome content.
I think so too. And Way Cool Woods said that his wife found some green fabric that works really well as a green screen, and he mounted a curtain rod from the ceiling so that he can move it out of the way when he doesn't want to use it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would work here because I have this area that's usually off camera. I could just push it all over to that spot. So that would be pretty cool. I
There's a lot of
didn't really think of
options.
that.
Or even
Yeah.
just green paint on a wall, I would think. I think some people
Yep.
do that.
Yep. Like this is actually a shower board, just bolted to the cinder block wall. So
Nice.
it's it works really really well for dry erase scenarios. But yeah, you could easily do a green, hang up some kind of green thing, or I don't know. Yeah, like in that case, a curtain rod, and just slide
Yeah,
the
just
green
something like
curtain
that.
there.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's a great solution.
Yep. Yeah, I love that idea. I'll have to try that. I still need to look into what I'm talking about, obviously. I don't know if how easy it is to, have a video playing on a green screen. I know you can have a background, obviously. A lot of streamers do that, but is it possible to have a video playing that you can stand next to? I don't know yet. So
Well, I would
must be
think
some way.
so, since people green screen themselves in front of video games they're playing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a
So
video.
it's got to be possible.
It's gotta be. I would think so. If
Yeah.
LiDAR says silly easy.
So, yeah, I bet it is. Just haven't really looked into it. It's just stuff that like I'm seeing, it's like, man, teachers are missing out on a really good opportunity. I know they're probably super busy and super swamped and they don't have time for it, but man, like right now with all the, schooling from home in front of cameras, like there's a really good opportunity here that I feel like a lot of them might be missing out on. So, um, yeah, and so that kind of translated to Twitch. It's like, oh, I could be doing that too.
Yeah, I mean, if we can make it easy for teachers, then maybe that can help get that started.
Yeah, yeah, or like my little Mars yard that the rovers drive in. Instead of a silly spray painted background like I have, I should just have a green background there.
Have space, actual space.
Yeah,
That would be amazing.
yeah, it could be showing Mars, and on that green screen. So um, there's so many possibilities with this, and I love where it's all going. I just have to, you just have to be creative. You just really have to think outside the box, I think, and just do something that you enjoy doing, and hopefully it'll set you apart, I suppose, from the others, but
Yeah.
or not from the others exactly, but get you noticed.
No, yeah, being unique is important. And my
Yeah.
vote is if you do set up a green screen for the Mars yard and you have space, I vote for a little astronaut going by in the background every now and then with your face on it. So that's my contribution.
That would be fun. Yeah, yeah, we could try that. I
You
don't
can
know
wave.
how
I
to
have,
do that exactly, but
I have no idea.
like I'm still kind of wondering like how a lot of you guys do the screen transitions, some of the animated screen transitions, or not transitions, like one of the more well-known stuff is like Laser Geek, throws up the confetti and the dancer and I assume they're scenes, like some kind of scene with an overlay. I haven't really played with it, but yeah, I could probably do stuff like that, I suppose. Would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we know it can be
but,
done.
but
Just have to figure
yeah,
out how.
it's stuff like that. Yeah, it's just like I haven't looked into it. Obviously it can be done,
Mhm.
because others are doing it, so it's um but yeah, I think there's just so many good opportunities here on Twitch, and just streaming in general. So just got to be creative.
No, definitely. I would love to learn how to do things like that. I just saw that Boyd went live. It's his birthday today, for anyone who doesn't know. So I think you can guess who will be rating at the end of the stream.
Yes, we should definitely do that.
Yeah, and he has a lot of those really fun animations, and I just want to learn how it's done. Even if it's not something I end up implementing, I would just love to know how it works.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that too, because he has the like you redeem channel points, I think, to
Hmm.
like have a fist come out onto the screen and
Yeah,
punch, or what is it else, like a T-Rex, I think, like
there's
a
T Rex.
dinosaur
There's a
comes
lot,
out.
and he's added new
Yeah.
ones. He's added a saxophone player that is my new favorite.
Oh, cool. I
And he's
haven't seen that.
added something called Ah, but I don't know what the reference is from. It's from a certain song or something. I think people in chat probably know where it's from, but I love that too. So
Hmm.
after this stream, I will be in there spamming the redeems
Yeah.
because I am excited. Yeah, way cool. Funeral Dance was my favorite, and I still love it. It's a classic, but the other ones are a little longer, so that's really fun. They last a little
Yeah.
longer.
Oh yeah, his
Yes,
rave
the rave.
party.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
yay
it's like
confetti.
I still don't really know how he has that incorporated to channel points. So
Hmm.
like it's
Like,
just there's so much stuff that I need to learn about yet too. So I shouldn't be like saying, oh, we should be doing this or that, because I I don't even know how some of the simple things are done. So yeah.
well, the awesome thing is that a lot of my experience is everyone's willing to help and tell you how to do things and give you that support and information.
Yeah. Yeah, that is good, because yeah, I mean, you could obviously just reach out to Boyd and be like, hey man, how'd you do this?
And I'm sure he would tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, like there's no real secrets
Yeah,
here. It's the nice thing. Like, nobody really needs to hide anything from each other. So it's really cool.
which I think is so fantastic because the community is so supportive of people coming in and trying new things and it's great. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like I kind of had mentioned, I originally started streaming to do more of a business stream than actual making stream.
Hmm.
Obviously, I got sidetracked into making rovers, but I wanted to, be as like transparent with the business as possible, um, and I still haven't quite decided if this is the right venue for doing such things. I know, like, we don't really have anything to hide from each other, and I think it would be kind of good to like help you know help each other on that aspect. So I don't know yet. I'm still on the fence of whether I should be like
Sure.
disclosing you know business information.
Yeah, I think it just depends on what you're comfortable sharing. I think we're all supportive here, but of course, some things in business, like maybe where you get certain items or other information like that, maybe a lot of people don't want to share, which is understandable. So, yeah,
Yeah.
just figuring that out.
Yep. Yeah, I was kind of wondering because I had recently I had taken a little bit of advice from another streamer and a new friend of mine, but he was like, "Hey, maybe you should get these kits from like AliExpress and resell them." So like I have this little solar powered Mars rover kind of thing made out of laser cut wood, and yeah, I think it costs like $2.50
Oh,
to
wow.
like total, like including shipping. And I was, kind of asking, chat like, how much should I sell this for? And yeah, so I mean, I feel like it's kind of good to maybe discuss that kind of stuff, but ultimately, I don't think I'm going to sell these because I was putting it together and it's like this is kind of garbage. So, I wouldn't want to like have it on my website and try and
Mhm.
sell it. So but I think it's nice to be able to bounce ideas, business ideas off of people in chat and stuff. But yeah, I suppose there's probably some aspects that you don't want to share that I was originally thinking I should be sharing. Like I wanted to share everything. I want to be like, here's where I buy stuff. Here's how much I buy it for. Here's how much I'm selling it for. Like I wanted to share everything, and now I'm not so sure if that's such a smart idea. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, definitely something to consider.
Yeah, because like originally going into streaming, I thought we'll have chat like kind of guide Stray Robotics. Like maybe the subscribers would be kind of the board, and like I would have board meetings and we could discuss what we should do, like where this business should head, and I guess after a little while of doing this, I started thinking, well, maybe it's not such a good idea. It's good to get maybe some tips and some ideas from chat, but maybe it's not a super good idea to be allowing everybody to try and steer this ship of Stray Robotics.
Yeah, it could be a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
voices for sure.
Yeah, like I don't know if I somehow ended up with a ton of subscribers. Yeah, that'd be difficult to try and get that.
Giant
You know,
board.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, I think I suppose there's probably some things that I just should not disclose, and uh, I mean, obviously, personal information you don't want to disclose, but just like a lot of the financial stuff, I really want to. I just don't know how to do it in a way where it might just ruin the business. I guess. I'm not like I wouldn't be super upset if, like, say somebody copied my rover and was starting to sell it at a cheaper price. I wouldn't be super upset. I'd be, obviously irritated, but yeah, I just make something else, I guess. um, so I don't know. That's one of the things that I've been kind of kicking around is like, should I be streaming this? Should I be streaming building these rovers and talking about them before I really even start selling them? Because like somebody with more assets than me could be like, yeah, I'll do that, and they develop their own and start selling it way before I ever do. So that's been a scenario that's been running through my head is, should I even be streaming this? So, uh,
Yeah,
but
that's definitely a
yeah,
consideration.
I think like ultimately, if Stray Robotics fails, um, at this point, it's not a big loss. I'd be a little sad, but I don't know. It's like, okay, that's cool. I tried that, and I can then live the rest of my life happy that I started a business. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Part of me would be pretty sad, I guess, that I didn't get to take it any farther than that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess ultimately I would learn something if somebody were like, "Oh yeah, you showed us everything, so it was super easy to copy." you know, yeah, I would learn that lesson and maybe start another business of you know stray stuff. Instead of stray robotics, just stray stuff.
I
We
think that
make stuff.
there's two things that come to mind for me with this is that number one, a lot of people aren't going to take the initiative And even if they think you have a cool product, it's a good profit margin, it's something they can do, a lot of people won't actually take the steps to make it themselves. And the other thing is, what was the other thing? Me coming from making and selling jewelry, very rarely is something there extremely unique. So I think that there's more value to a brand and an item than just the specific item itself. Like, sure, there are some items that are really unique, some products that you go just for the product. But I think a lot of people want to support you as an individual. They like your brand. When you get the educational, when you expand that aspect of it, they're going to want to support you there. So I think those are some things to consider too.
Yeah, I guess yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think on the streaming side of things, most people who are watching Twitch and stuff are, fellow makers and things like that, and they want to be supportive. I guess like I'm concerned that, say like I'm showing it on YouTube and stuff, and YouTube is, very readily accessible worldwide. So, what if like a Chinese company, they're really good at manufacturing and they can do it very cheaply. So, what if they're just like they just sat down and drew this rover out of, on CAD just like I did. It doesn't take much, and they just started making their own and able to sell it for, $5 or something. That's kind of what I'm afraid of, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you see that a lot with companies or just people who invent something and they create a little business around it, and then some manufacturer in China just kind of steals it from them. So it's usually afraid of that, I guess, more than other makers and crafters.
Sure. I guess I don't have an answer for that, of course. But I think for me, it would be: is your rover something you can protect? That's a good question to ask your attorney, I would think. And then also, I would just say making it important that someone buys a Stray Robotics rover and not just a generic rover. Those would be my guesses. But
Yeah, like
I don't know.
mine usually has the logo on the bottom of it. So obviously, if I get that like trademarked or something, they wouldn't be able to put the logo on. But
They might still do it anyway.
yeah, probably. Because yeah, like the problem with like a trademark or a patent, it's really just a ticket to a lawsuit.
That's
You
fair.
know, so
That's fair.
like a small business has no chance of fighting somebody with resources. A lot of the books that I've read, it's like a small business can easily just go under trying to pay for the legal fees involved in fighting a patent. So, it's just like
Yeah.
something you just almost have to let go. Just be like, okay, there's no way I can fight you on this. Even if you win, it could be years, and you're just fighting it and paying legal fees and
Mm-hmm.
not making a profit anymore. So, yeah, it's a little scary.
Definitely. And Silver made a really great point that there's a different quality to products like that. You get what you pay for.
That's very true. Like this goofy little contraption.
Exactly. Little
you know,
giraffe llama rover. I don't even know.
it was on their website for like $1.20 or something like that. And it's like, I mean, the solar panels alone are more than that. So, if
No
I were to
idea.
just try and buy these solar panels from somewhere, they would probably cost $5 a piece. So, like, how are they able to manufacture something like this for less than $1?
I have
You
no idea. And
But
Pixel.
obviously,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, there's like, it's obviously very cheaply made. And I would never make something like this, obviously. So, yeah, you do get what you pay for.
And Pixel Lumberjack said there's also something about seeing the thing you're buying be made for you. And
Oh,
completely right. If you're making people's rovers on stream, letting them know, hey, I'm going to be live at this day and time making your rover, and we can chat about it. I've had some of the best streams when I'm streaming, making custom jewelry for people. We're chatting in the chat about what kind of item, like beads they'd like, or crystals, or stones, or for the holiday gift exchange that I hosted for 2020. Watching Bad Dad make the pen box for me was amazing, and watching
yeah.
Boyd turn the pen, which I've been using during the stream. It's so special. That
Yeah,
adds a value that you can't get anywhere else. So
very
that's definitely
true.
true Pixel, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I guess uh, for me, the rovers were all pretty much one standard color scheme, and um, so I guess I never really thought about doing a stream specifically for somebody's rover, um, but now that there's the idea of doing custom ones, yeah, I could definitely see doing that. So I don't know, or I guess even if you just said, hey, this is this rover is for this person.
Exactly,
um,
even with no customization.
yeah. So I mean, I've only made 7 so far, so obviously my thought process hasn't quite developed that far out yet. But I could definitely see that with like a lot of the like the artists being able to do custom work on stream, and then that's probably how you also get a lot of business too, I suppose, a lot of commission work. So
Yeah. People see what
seems
you're
pretty good.
making and they want something specially made for them and you get your commission, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
that would be pretty exciting to see somebody making your thing.
Yeah, it really is, I'll tell you. Like, I think you were in my chat yesterday for my stream. I don't know. I don't remember.
Think a
I've,
little bit.
I have a bad memory with this stuff, but like showing off the pen in the box,
Hmm.
like it's amazing. And seeing in person the thing that you saw on your phone, TV if you have the app, or like computer screen, it's so special. And it definitely adds value to that.
Yeah, and I guess like another thing, when I was at that game store, asking, what should I do? Because we're currently, I'm selling these things for like $45 and or $40. I'm making like a $15 profit, and guy was, I showed him some pictures, and the guy was like, honestly, I'd sell that for like 60. It's
Oh,
like, what? Are you out of your mind? And he's like, well, it's handmade, right? And that's kind of a lot of the stuff I get from a lot of the Twitch folk too. They're just like, well, you're hand making this, you know, it's
yeah,
worth the extra money, because you're not just injection molding it in in
exactly.
some factory in China or whatever. It's like you're hand making these things. So yeah, it's something I need to, I guess, probably consider. Um, you know, Probably charging for um, the quality, I guess, of it.
Yeah, I was chatting with some other streamers about this and what they make, and with pricing things, you got to consider, of course, the cost of the materials, but also your time, and then put in, okay, what kind of profit margin do I want, and see what you end up with. And you can ask around and say, hey, what would you pay for this? Because maybe people will pay more than you think it's worth, because just like you said, you see all the imperfections, and maybe that affects the way that you value what you're making.
Yep,
So
yep,
yeah, I
and
know I like to look around online and ask people when I make something like how much would you pay for this, and that helps me a lot.
yeah, I guess like for me, I have this rover that like it just drives forward in the sunlight, doesn't really do anything, but there's potential there for kids to add an Arduino and
Mm,
other electronics sensors and stuff to make it do whatever they want it to do. And a lot of people are saying, you're paying for that potential. You're also paying for the education content that's in the user manual.
hmm.
So yeah, so I guess I really need to, I guess, probably think about upping the price point. Is like I just see other solar powered things on Etsy and stuff, and they're a lot cheaper than what I'm selling them for. So yeah, I kind of think, oh, maybe this is too high. Maybe I keep thinking $40 is too much for something that only goes forward in the sun.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
then there's
I
that
guess
question again: is Etsy the right platform?
that's true. Yeah, it might not be in this case. Being that I only make, like $15 of profit, and it takes me 10 hours to make, it's just silly to be selling them
Yeah,
at that price point. So, yeah, I do need to probably move off of Etsy, I suppose, and just kind of be on my own website. And that's where, maybe I just have an increased price. And if people are willing to pay it, that's great. um, I don't know. Like um, if anybody's ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, is another it's a good book if you're ever learning how like want to learn how to invest. That's kind of like the I would say almost the Bible for people who want to learn how to get into investing. I read that a long time ago, but like this thing kind of hit home with me that he said, and he said like cheap people, um, cheap people complain a lot. So if you charge a lot of money for something, you're not going to be getting the cheap people, and those complaints aren't going to be bogging down your system trying to make them happy. You're not going to be sending them free stuff to try and keep them happy. They're not cheap people, and so they expect you know certain quality, and that's what you're providing is the quality, and they won't really typically complain about it. So yeah, so I guess if I move off Etsy onto my own platform, then I suppose I could charge more, and people just come there expecting good quality products, I guess.
Right, and they're willing to pay for the quality, so that's an option
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And Rocket
Mm-hmm.
Fin said, selling the educational aspect as a form of service also.
Yep. Yep. So we were discussing that, trying to figure out how to do that. Because we were like Kristen and I were talking about being able to take this to schools and trying to provide more of an educational service than an actual product. So that's another aspect too, is to get the price in there that also incorporates the educational service. So I
Definitely.
haven't quite figured out how to do that yet. And,
Yeah, and that's
it's
that's
something we talk about every once in a while.
that's so exciting though. I feel like there's so much opportunity for you in different directions you can go in, and just have to look into it and see what you want to do.
Yep. Yep. There's a lot of potential with this little product, and
Yeah.
it's just like, that's kind of where I feel like I need a mentor, because I just don't exactly know what I don't know, I guess, really. I can
Hmm.
read all these business books, but I just don't. I feel like I'm missing something. There's just something I'm not grasping that I feel like I need, and yeah, need some kind of guidance on what would actually be the best route with this. I don't know. Anybody want to be a mentor?
Any mentors in the chat? Well, I'm always happy to chat about things. I'm not mentor level, I'm not an expert, but I can at least be a sounding board for ideas and
Yeah.
chat about those.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the nice thing about streaming is you can always just
Hmm.
bounce ideas off of people, and get their take on things.
Hmm.
So I know a lot of folks in in chat and on Twitch are business owners themselves and have probably gone through a lot of these scenarios.
Sure.
So yeah, it's a really nice platform, I think, to be able to get some ideas from.
Definitely. And speaking of advice, before we finish up the episode, anything else that you want to talk about? Any other advice you have for people in the chat?
I guess I would say, if you're planning anything, just do it. you know,
Just do
um,
it.
I think that's really the best way to do it. I wouldn't be a business owner if I hadn't just jumped on it, because I would have probably just kept reading books and just, thinking, okay, maybe this is how I do it, or, taking some notes and writing down some kind of guidelines of what I would do. But, it's just on paper. Like you have to, I think, just do it. Just jump in and learn as you go. And I've been doing that a lot, and yeah, it's an awful lot of work, but I don't think I ever would have gotten to where I am now, if I hadn't just jumped in and, registered the business and just dove in and started doing it. So yeah, I guess that would be my bit of advice. I mean, it doesn't have to be owning a business or whatever, but if it's a big step for you, sometimes it's best to just do it. Just
Definitely.
jump on it, see what
And
happens.
oh, absolutely. And for me, one thing I've been telling myself a lot lately, that I've mentioned in chats and streams a lot, is done is better than perfect. So
Yep.
for me, I'm getting used to the idea of going ahead when things aren't 100% perfect, because like I said, sometimes just getting it done is better.
Yep. And yeah, that's I think kind of how I also started selling, the seven that I sold, because obviously they weren't perfect. I was doing a lot of Dremel work and just trying to clean them up the best I could. But I figured I just need to sell them. I just get them out and see what happens. And otherwise, yeah, I would have kept remaking the parts over and over until they were perfect and never would have sold any. So
That's fair.
yeah,
That's
just
fair.
have to do it.
And do you want to share your streaming schedule, things you have coming up that you'd like the chat to know about?
Sure. So yeah, streaming schedule is Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. Central Time. Um, Usually with a soft cutoff of 10 p.m. So it's usually just a 2-hour stream, nothing to really have to be there for. But yeah, so Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 to 10 Central. Um, so usually what I try to do is to just make rovers or make silicone molds or whatever. I try to just teach people how to make silicone molds or anything, I guess. And a lot of times it just ends up being me chatting. So it's I'll start something, and then usually about a half hour or an hour into it, I'll just end up sitting down and talking. So
It's a good time, though. It's a good time.
yeah, it's nice. Good to be able to just kind of hang out and just talk, just be normal people during this crazy pandemic. So
Definitely.
it's good to just hang out with someone.
Fantastic. So thank you so much, Stray, for being on this episode. It has been absolutely amazing to chat about your experience, your business, and where you're looking to go.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, I guess any new viewers or new streamers out there, I'm sure there's a lot of new streamers that are probably struggling. Just I guess I failed to mention earlier that I had streamed pretty much to my mom and grandma for probably a good 3 or 4 months. So so yeah, it takes a little time. But yeah, if you guys are thinking about streaming or you're new at it and you're struggling, it takes a little bit of doing. So just keep at it.
And if you are new to streaming, let us know. Feel free to self promote
Yeah.
in the chat.
Yep.
Always happy to see what people are up to.
Yep.
Dropping a
Obviously.
follow, yeah.
And the makers and crafters are a fantastic group. I've seen a lot of newcomers just all of a sudden explode. Just because there's such a supportive community here. So if you're thinking about streaming, I think now would be a good time to jump in, especially if you're a maker and crafter. So.
And also feel free to jump in my Discord and promote yourself. That link should be good. I updated it recently. But we can definitely continue the conversation there. I'll post a little recap of some stuff that we chatted about here, including the books that Stray mentioned. But Stray, thank you again. And
Yeah, thank you.
let's go riot in Void's chat. Thanks, everybody. See you next time. Bye.